In the heart of Siberia, where the winters are long and brutal, a group of teenagers decides to spend Christmas in an abandoned cabin. But their festive getaway turns into a nightmare when they discover something terrifying inside the cabin. As the temperature drops and the snow piles up, they must confront not only the chilling presence haunting them, but also their own fears and secrets. Our story begins with four friends, Alexei, Katya, Kolya, and Dasha, who decide to flee the hustle and bustle of Moscow and spend Christmas in a secluded cabin in the Siberian wilderness. The idea seems like a great way to bond and enjoy some quality time together away from the city's chaos. But what they don't realize is that they're not alone in this isolated cabin. As they settle into the cozy cabin, the weight of their isolation starts to take hold. The biting cold outside, coupled with the eerie silence of the abandoned building, creates an unsettling atmosphere. They try to keep themselves busy with board games and stories, but a sense of dread hangs over them. Suddenly, strange noises begin to echo through the cabin, shaking them from their uneasy calm. Then Alexei discovers a hidden room filled with disturbing items, including a tattered diary detailing the horrifying ordeal of a family trapped in the cabin years ago. As the friends read the diary entries, they uncover a tale of desperation and terror, realizing they might not be the first to experience these terrifying events. The situation takes a terrifying turn when the power goes out, plunging them into darkness and forcing them to rely on their dwindling supplies and the warmth of their own bodies to survive. Fearful of venturing outside in the pitch-black darkness, they huddle together, trying to keep each other and themselves warm. But as the temperature drops, so does their morale. Trapped in the freezing cabin with an unknown entity, the friends must confront their deepest fears and work together if they want to survive the night and escape the clutches of the relentless winter and whatever else the cabin holds. In the desolate expanse of the Siberian wilderness, their survival instincts kick in. They seal off the hidden room, gather around the fireplace, and try to keep warm, but the flickering flames do little to dispel the shadows that seem to dance menacingly in the corners of their eyes. As the diary revealed, the cabin had a history of trapping those who entered it, never to be seen again. Now, huddled together, they share stories and jokes to keep their spirits high. However, as the night deepens, the tension grows. Strange sounds continue to echo around them, making them jump at every creak and groan of the old cabin. But it's the diary that truly haunts them. Its pages tell a story of a family who sought refuge in the same cabin, only to be stalked by a malevolent force that thrived on their fear. As they read, the friends begin to suspect that they, too, are being watched, hunted by an unseen presence that feeds on their terror. With dwindling supplies and the constant threat of hypothermia looming over them, they must find a way to escape before the winter claims them. But the malevolent entity that haunts the cabin seems determined to keep them trapped forever, and as the lines between reality and the diary entries blur, they must face not only the physical dangers around them, but also the psychological torment of their unseen stalker. As the harrowing nights pass, the friends become increasingly desperate. They ration their remaining food, huddling around the fireplace for warmth and listening to the wind howling outside. They try to distract themselves by playing cards and sharing childhood stories. But the looming threat of the malevolent entity casts a long shadow over their attempts at normalcy. The diary becomes a source of both comfort and terror, offering insights into the cabin's dark past, while reminding them of the fate that befell those who stayed there before. With each passing moment, the friends grow weaker, their bodies succumbing to the harsh conditions. But their determination to survive and escape the cabin's clutches keeps them going. Just when their hope begins to dwindle, one of them stumbles upon a hidden stash of supplies, giving them a much-needed boost. With renewed vigor, they set about repairing the cabin stove, hoping to restore some semblance of warmth and normalcy to their lives. They take turns keeping watch while the others sleep, always on the lookout for signs of the malevolent entity. But the diary's warnings echo in their ears, reminding them of the danger that lurks in the shadows. The struggle to survive the harsh winter conditions and the unseen stalker's attacks takes its toll on their mental and physical well-being. They are forced to confront not only the elements, but also their own inner demons. Alexei begins to have visions, perhaps brought on by exhaustion and stress, which seem to offer cryptic clues about the entity haunting them. Katya's normally sunny disposition turns dark and brooding, reflecting the oppressive atmosphere of the cabin. Meanwhile, Kolya's bravery is put to the test as he takes on the role of protector, shielding the others from harm. And Dasha, the youngest of the group, displays remarkable resilience, refusing to give in to despair. The turning point comes when they discover a clue left behind by the family, whose story they read about in the diary. It offers a glimmer of hope, suggesting a way to break the curse or appease the entity. Working together, they decipher the clue, leading them to a secret passage hidden within the cabin. With renewed determination, they set out to explore the passage, hoping it will lead them to salvation. However, the passage is treacherous and dangerous, testing their strength and resolve. But the promise of escape keeps them moving forward. As they navigate the labyrinthine passage, they encounter symbols and remnants of the previous occupants, their desperation and fear palpable. The climax arrives when they reach the end of the passage and find themselves in a part of the cabin they hadn't explored before. They discover a hidden room filled with disturbing items, including a tattered diary detailing the horrifying ordeal of a family trapped in the cabin years ago. As the friends read the diary entries, they uncover a tale of desperation and terror, realizing they might not be the first to experience these terrifying events. The diary reveals that the cabin was built on an ancient burial ground, and the entity haunting them was the spirit of a young girl who had been buried there. The spirit was restless and sought to possess anyone who entered the cabin. The family in the diary had tried everything to escape the spirit, but ultimately they were all taken by it. With this knowledge, the friends realized that they need to do something to appease the spirit. Before it's too late, they decide to hold a small ceremony, offering water and flowers as a sign of respect and apology for disturbing the girl's final resting place. As they perform the ceremony, the atmosphere in the cabin begins to shift. The malevolent presence that had been plaguing them seems to recede slightly, granting them a moment of peace. With their spirits lifted, they set about repairing the damage to the cabin, determined to make it habitable once more. They work tirelessly, their hands rough and blistered from the physical labor. Slowly, the cabin begins to look like a home once more, offering them a sanctuary from the harsh winter outside. But even as they work, they can sense the spirit's presence still lingers. The climax comes when one of the friends is injured, and they must use their newfound skills to help them recover. Working together, they dress the wound and provide comfort, their friendship and camaraderie growing stronger in the face of adversity. When their friend regains consciousness, they share stories of their past, reflecting on how far they've come since their ordeal began. They realize that the cabin has not only tested their limits, but also forged an unbreakable bond among them. As the winter begins to relent, they know it's time to move on. With heavy hearts, they pack their belongings and prepare to leave the cabin behind. They take one last look around, acknowledging the pain and growth they've experienced within its walls. As they step out into the sunlight, blinking against the brightness after weeks of darkness, they feel a sense of relief and gratitude. The world seems new and vibrant, and they're filled with a renewed appreciation for life and its simple pleasures. But they carry with them the memories of their ordeal and the scars that will forever remind them of the challenges they've overcome. Back in Moscow, their lives slowly return to normal, but they're forever changed by their experience in the cabin. They find it difficult to connect with others who didn't share their ordeal. Feeling isolated once more, they begin to rebuild their lives, drawing strength from the lessons they learned and the bonds they formed during their darkest hours. And though the memory of their ordeal in the desolate Siberian cabin continues to haunt them, they know that they've survived the ultimate test of human endurance and emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. Their story serves as a reminder of the indomitable spirit of humanity and the power of friendship in the face of unimaginable terror. As the snow melts and spring arrives, they know that they'll never forget their time in the cabin, but they're determined to honor the memory of those who did not make it out by living their lives to the fullest.